If my life were a movie, this would be the part where the popcorn gets stuck in your throat. I'm, I'm sitting in my recliner at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, watching old family videos with my kids. The house smells like microwave popcorn, and that vanilla candle my wife Marta always lights but never seems to enjoy. Ross, my 22-year-old, is sprawled on the couch scrolling through his phone, while Amelia, 20, paints her nails electric blue on the coffee table. Remember this camping trip? I ask, pointing at the screen where a younger version of myself struggles to set up a tent, while Marta laughs in the background. Dad, maybe we should watch something else, Ross says, his voice tight with something I can't quite place. That's when I notice it. A browser tab, labeled Recent Videos, that I don't remember opening. My cursor hovers over it, and Ross suddenly sits up straight, his face pale. Dad, don't, but I'm already clicking. The video loads, and my world tilts sideways. It's Marta, my wife of 24 years. She's in a car I don't recognize, laughing with someone whose voice makes my stomach drop. The camera angle is weird, like it was taken from across a parking lot, but the audio is crystal clear. Jake makes me feel alive again, she's saying to someone off camera. Tom hasn't touched me in months. He's so predictable. Ah, Jake, my best friend since college. The guy who comes to our barbecues, who helped me move furniture, who my kids call Uncle Jake. The video continues. They're talking about meeting at the Riverside Motel, about how long this has been going on, about how I'm too stupid to notice. 18 months. They've been doing this for 18 months. Dad, Amelia whispers, her nail polish forgotten. I'm so sorry. I found that on Mom's cloud account. I didn't know how to tell you. I stare at the screen, my mind processing what I'm seeing like a computer running too many programs at once. Everything makes sense now. Marta's late nights at the advertising agency. Her sudden interest in yoga classes I was never invited to observe. The way she flinches when I try to hold her hand. There's more, Ross says quietly. Amelia showed me last week. We've been trying to figure out what to do. More. Of course there's more. The next video is shorter. Marta and Jake in what looks like his basement, talking about money, about how they need to be careful about joint accounts, about how I handle all the finances and they need to plan for when this all comes out. But it's the third video that destroys me completely. Jake is holding a piece of paper. Even through the grainy footage, I can make out the letterhead. Paternity testing services. The results came back, he's saying. Little Tommy isn't his, my youngest son. The kid I taught to ride a bike, who looks just like me, who calls me his hero, except apparently he's not mine. I sit there for what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes. The house is completely quiet, except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic on Maple Street. How long have you known? I ask my kids. 2 weeks, Amelia admits. We hired a private investigator with our college money. We thought you deserved to know. A private investigator. My 20-year-old daughter hired a private investigator because she couldn't bear to watch her father live a lie. I stand up slowly, my legs unsteady. Where's your mother? Book club, Ross says. At least, that's what she told us. Book club. Right. The same book club that meets every Tuesday at the Riverside Motel, apparently. I walk to the kitchen and open the junk drawer, where we keep important papers. Birth certificates, insurance documents, warranties for appliances that stopped working years ago. I find what I'm looking for. A business card for a DNA testing service that Jake recommended when I mentioned wanting to trace our family genealogy. Jake recommended it. Of course he did. I dial the number, even though it's nearly midnight. Surprisingly, someone answers. 24-hour DNA services. This is Patricia. I need a paternity test, I say. Rush job. How fast can you get results? With our express service, 48 hours. But sir, our office hours. I'll pay double. I need this done tomorrow. I give her my credit card information, my address, everything she needs. She'll send a technician to the house at noon. When I hang up, both kids are staring at me. Dad, what are you going to do? Amelia asks. That's the question, isn't it? What does a man do when he discovers his entire life is a lie? When his best friend has been betraying him for over a year? When the child he's raised and loved might not even be his? I'm going to find out the truth, I tell them. All of it. The next morning, I call in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. I'm an accountant at Henderson & Associates, a small firm that handles taxes and bookkeeping for local businesses. Predictable work for a predictable man, as Marta apparently sees it. The DNA technician arrives exactly at noon. She's a middle-aged woman with kind eyes who doesn't ask questions when I explain that I need to test both of my sons without their mother knowing. The younger boy isn't here, I tell her. We can work with samples from personal items, she says. Toothbrush, hairbrush, anything with follicles or saliva. I feel like a criminal sneaking into 8-year-old Tommy's room to steal his toothbrush. But I do it anyway, because I need to know. 47 hours later, the results arrive by email. Ross, 99.97% probability of paternity. Tommy, 0% probability of paternity. I print out the results and stare at them for a long time. Then I fold the papers carefully and put them in my jacket pocket. It's Thursday night. Marta is at another late meeting at the agency. The kids are at their respective part-time jobs. I'm alone in the house where I've lived for 15 years, surrounded by photos of a family that was never really mine. I know where Jake lives. I know he'll be home because Thursday is his poker night, and he always hosts. I know his wife Carol will be there, along with 3 other guys from the neighborhood. Perfect. I drive across town to Willowbrook Estates, where Jake bought his McMansion 5 years ago, with money from a tech job that pays twice what I make. The house is lit up like Christmas, with cars parked in the driveway and along the street. I can hear laughter through the windows as I walk up to the front door. I ring the doorbell. Carol answers, her face brightening when she sees me. Tom, what a nice surprise. Jake didn't mention you were coming to poker night. He doesn't know, I say. Is he here? Of course, they're in the basement. Go on down. The basement is finished with a wet bar and a professional poker table. Jake is dealing cards, a beer in his hand, completely relaxed. He looks up when he hears me on the stairs. Tommy boy, he calls out. Didn't expect to see you tonight. Carol letting you out of the house. The other guys chuckle. They all know the joke, that I'm whipped, that Marta keeps me on a short leash, that I'm the responsible one who never has any fun. Actually, I say, pulling the folded papers from my pocket, I wanted to show you something. I toss the DNA results onto the poker table, right in the middle of their game. Jake's face goes white as he reads the letterhead. The other guys lean in, curious. Paternity test, says Mike, one of Jake's coworkers. What's this about? Read it out loud, Jake, I say. Share it with everyone. Oh, Jake's hands are shaking as he picks up the paper. Tom, maybe we should talk privately. No, I interrupt. Right here, right now. Read it. He clears his throat. Subject tokens. Thomas Mitchell Jr. alleged father. Thomas Mitchell Sr. Probability of paternity, 0%. The room goes completely quiet. That's my 8-year-old son, I explain to the group. The kid Jake here has been playing uncle to for his entire life. Turns out, he's been playing more than uncle to my wife. Jake stands up so fast, his chair tips over. Tom, listen. 18 months, I continue, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. 18 months you've been sleeping with Marta. 18 months you've been coming to my house, eating my food, playing with your biological son while I paid for everything. Mike and the other guys are staring back and forth between us like they're watching a tennis match. Now how did you find out? Jake asks, his voice barely a whisper. My daughter hired a private investigator, I say, because she couldn't stand watching you two make a fool out of me anymore. That's when Jake makes his mistake. Instead of apologizing, instead of showing any remorse, he gets defensive. You want to know the truth, Tom? Fine. Marta came to me. She was lonely, she was unhappy, and you were too busy with your spreadsheets and your boring life to notice. Maybe if you'd been a better husband. I don't remember deciding to hit him. 1 second he's talking, the next second my fist connects with his jaw, and he's stumbling backward into the wet bar. The other guys jump up, but I'm not done. A better husband? I shout. I worked 60 hours a week to pay for this house we couldn't afford. I coached Little League for kids that weren't even mine. I gave up my dreams, my hobbies, my friends, everything to be the responsible one while you two were playing house behind my back. Jake is holding his jaw, and I can see the fear in his eyes now. Good. Tom, please. Carol's voice comes from the top of the stairs. What's happening down there? Your husband is a cheating liar, I call back. Ask him about the Riverside Motel. Ask him about my wife. Ask him about the son he's never bothered to support. I can hear Carol's footsteps running across the floor above us. Jake looks at me with something like panic. You can't tell her. Tom, please. It'll destroy my marriage. Your marriage, I laugh, but there's no humor in it. What about mine? I pick up the DNA results and fold them back into my pocket. This is just the beginning, Jake. You and Marta want to play games? Fine. But you're playing with someone who knows where all the money is buried. I head for the stairs, then turn back. Oh, and Jake? Next Thursday is poker night at my house. You're not invited. The news spreads through our neighborhood faster than a grease fire. By Friday morning, I've gotten 17 text messages, 12 phone calls, and 3 casseroles from neighbors who heard what happened. Apparently, Carol didn't take the news well. According to Mrs. Henderson from across the street, the police showed up at Jake's house around midnight after reports of domestic disturbance. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, drinking coffee that tastes like ash, when Marta walks in. She looks like she hasn't slept. Her usually perfect hair is disheveled, her makeup is smeared, and she's wearing the same clothes from yesterday. For a woman who works in advertising and always looks like she stepped out of a magazine, this is the equivalent of showing up naked. We need to talk, she says. Do we? I don't look up from my newspaper. I figured you'd be at Jake's, comforting him through his marital crisis. She sits down across from me, and I can smell wine on her breath. Day drinking, that's new. Tom, I know you're angry. Angry? I finally look at her. Angry doesn't begin to cover it, Marta. Angry is when you leave dishes in the sink. This is something else entirely. She tries a different approach. What happened between Jake and me? It just happened. We didn't plan it. We were both lonely, and 18 months, I interrupt. 18 months isn't something that just happened. 18 months is a relationship. 18 months is choosing him over me every single day for a year and a half. Her composure cracks a little. You don't understand what it's like being married to someone who's never here, who's always working, who treats marriage like a business arrangement. A business arrangement? I stand up so fast my chair scrapes against the floor. I treated our marriage like a partnership. I worked extra hours so you could take that job at the agency. I handled all the finances so you wouldn't have to worry about bills. I took care of the kids, the house, the cars, everything, so you could focus on your career. You took control of everything, she shoots back. You made all the decisions. You never asked what I wanted. What you wanted. My voice is getting louder, but I don't care. You wanted Jake, apparently. You wanted to screw my best friend and have his baby and let me raise it like an idiot. She flinches at that. Tommy loves you. You're the only father he's ever known. That's not the point, and you know it. We stare at each other across the kitchen table where we've eaten thousands of meals together, where we've helped kids with homework, where we've planned vacations and birthday parties and Christmas mornings. What do you want, Tom? She asks finally. It's a good question. What do I want? Revenge? An apology? My old life back? I want you to move out, I say. Today. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. I pull out a folder I've prepared. The deed is in my name only. I bought this house 3 years before we got married, remember? You're not on the mortgage, you're not on the property tax records, and according to Ohio law, it remains my separate property. Her face goes pale. You can't just throw me out. I'm not throwing you out. I'm asking you to leave. There's a difference. What about the kids? The kids can stay here, in their home, with their father. You're welcome to see them anytime. But I won't live under the same roof as someone who's been lying to me for 18 months. She starts crying then, but they're angry tears, not sad ones. You're being cruel. I'm being practical. You made your choice, Marta. Now live with it. She storms out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. An hour later, she's back with her sister Victoria. Victoria is everything Marta isn't. Loud, dramatic, and completely convinced that she's the smartest person in any room. She's also been divorced 3 times, which apparently makes her an expert on marriage.
Tom Mitchell,
Victoria announces as she walks into my house without knocking. You are being completely unreasonable.
Hello, Victoria. Nice to see you too. Marta made a mistake. People make mistakes.
That doesn't mean you get to destroy her life. I'm sitting in my recliner, the same spot where I discovered the truth 3 days ago. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just not pretending anymore. I mew. You're throwing away 24 years of marriage over one affair. One affair that lasted 18 months and produced a child, I correct. And I'm not throwing anything away. Marta already did that. Mi Farha sits down on the couch like she owns the place. You men are all the same. Your ego gets bruised, and you can't see past your own hurt feelings to think about what's best for the family. What's best for the family? I laugh. What's best for the family would have been Marta not screwing my best friend. She was lonely, Tom. You work all the time. You never take her anywhere. You never make her feel special. What did you expect? I study Victoria's face. She's enjoying this, I realize. She's always resented Marta's marriage, her stability, her success. This chaos is entertainment for her. You know what, Victoria? You're right. I am selfish. I am boring. I am predictable. But I'm also loyal, and I'm honest. And I never once in 24 years betrayed my wife's trust. Trust is earned, Victoria snaps. And so is respect. Something your sister forgot. Marta appears in the doorway with 2 suitcases. I'm staying with Victoria until we figure this out. There's nothing to figure out, I tell her. You chose Jake. Now you get to live with that choice. What about Tommy? She asks. He's going to wonder where I am. Tell him the truth. Tell him his mother decided her affair was more important than her family. Victoria stands up. You're being vindictive. I'm being honest. Something this family could use more of. After they leave, I sit in my empty house and think about what comes next. I could file for divorce, split everything down the middle, and try to move on. I could be the bigger person, the mature one, the responsible adult who handles this quietly and with dignity. But I don't want to be the bigger person. I want Marta and Jake to understand what they've taken from me. I want them to feel the humiliation, the betrayal, the complete destruction of everything they thought they could count on. I want revenge. I start with social media. Marta's Facebook page is full of happy family photos and inspirational quotes about following your dreams. Her Instagram shows our vacations, our anniversary dinners, our kids' graduations. To anyone looking at her online presence, we're the perfect suburban family. I screenshot everything. Every post about our amazing marriage, every photo of Jake at our family gatherings, every comment about how blessed she feels to have such a wonderful life. Then I create my own post. After 24 years of marriage, I've discovered that my wife has been having an affair with my best friend for the past 18 months. They have a child together that I've been raising as my own. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but for honesty. Too many people in this town know the truth, and I'm tired of being the only one who was kept in the dark. To everyone who knew and said nothing, thank you for showing me who my real friends are. I attached the DNA test results, with Tommy's name blacked out to protect him. Then I tagged Jake, Marta, and about 50 mutual friends. And I hit post. My phone starts ringing within minutes. The post goes viral in our small town within hours. Not internet famous viral, but Millbrook, Ohio viral, which means everyone at the grocery store, the gas station, and the coffee shop knows my business by lunchtime. I get calls from people I haven't spoken to in years, offering support, asking for details, or just wanting to be part of the drama. The best call comes from my brother-in-law, Marta's younger brother David. Tom, what the hell is going on? He says. Victoria called my mom crying about how you're destroying Marta's reputation. Her reputation destroyed itself, I tell him. I just stopped hiding it. Is it true? About Jake and the kid? DNA doesn't lie. There's a long pause. Jesus, Tom, I'm sorry. I had no idea. Nobody did. That was the point. What can I do? That's when I realized something important. Not everyone is going to side with Marta just because she's the woman in this situation. Some people actually care about right and wrong. Just be there for the kids, I tell him. This isn't their fault, but even as I'm saying it, I know the kids are already being affected. Amelia calls me from college, crying. Dad, people are sharing your post. It's all over campus. Everyone knows about Mom. I'm sorry, honey. I should have warned you. No, you shouldn't apologize. I'm proud of you for telling the truth. I don't know how to face my friends. Hold your head up, I tell her. You didn't do anything wrong. Ross has a different reaction. He comes home from his job at the hardware store, looking like he wants to hit something. Jake's wife came into the store today, he says. She was buying locks, new locks for all her doors. A smart woman. She asked me to tell you thank you. She said she suspected something, but could never prove it. I feel a twinge of guilt about Carol. She's collateral damage in this war, an innocent victim of her husband's choices. But then I remember that I was an innocent victim too, and my guilt fades. What else did she say? That Jake moved out. He's staying at some extended stay hotel on Route 9. She's filing for divorce. Good. Let Jake see what it feels like to lose everything. But I'm not done with him yet. I know Jake's schedule, because we've been friends for 25 years. I know he gets his coffee at the Starbucks on Main Street every morning at 7:15. I know he goes to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I know he plays golf at Riverside Country Club every Saturday morning. I also know he's probably avoiding all those places now, trying to lay low until the scandal dies down. That's why I'm surprised to see his car at Murphy's Pub on Friday night. Murphy's is a dive bar where we used to watch football games and complain about our wives. The irony isn't lost on me that he's chosen this place to drown his sorrows. I walk in and spot him immediately. He's sitting at the far end of the bar, hunched over a whiskey, looking like a man who's lost everything. Which he has. "Jake," I say, taking the stool next to him. Huh. He looks up, startled. "Tom, what are you doing here?" Same thing you are, I imagine. Trying to make sense of how my life fell apart. The bartender, a guy named Murphy, who's owned this place for 30 years, looks between us nervously. "You boys want me to call someone?" "We're fine," I tell him. Two old friends having a drink. Jake orders another whiskey. I get a beer. "Carol threw me out," Jake says, after a long silence. "I heard. She took the kids to her mother's. Won't let me see them." "Consequences," I say. "They're a real pain." He turns to look at me, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. "Tom, I need you to know that I never meant for this to happen." "Which part? The affair or getting caught?" "Any of it. Marta and it started innocent. She was having problems at work, needed someone to talk to. You were always busy, always stressed about money." "So this is my fault?" "No, that's not what I mean." He runs his hands through his hair. "I mean, we were both vulnerable. It just evolved into a 1.5-year relationship that produced a child." He flinches. "Tommy's a great kid." "Yeah, he is. And I've been raising him while you played weekend dad and screwed his mother. I wanted to tell you, so many times, but you didn't." I take a long drink of my beer. "You let me keep paying for everything. The house, the cars, the vacations, the kids' clothes and toys and doctor visits. You let me be the responsible one while you got all the fun." "I'll pay you back, every penny." "With what money? You lost your job, remember? Carol's taking half of everything you have left. And Marta, well, Marta's about to discover that her advertising career isn't as secure as she thought." Jake looks at me sharply. "What do you mean?" I smile, but it's not a friendly smile. "I mean, her boss got a very detailed email this morning, with photos. Turns out, screwing around with married men doesn't align with the agency's family values mission statement." "You got her fired?" "I got her exposed. What her company does with that information is up to them." Jake stares at me like he's seeing me for the first time. "This isn't like you, Tom. You're not vindictive." "The old Tom wasn't vindictive," I agree. "The old Tom was trusting and loyal and stupid. The new Tom is a quick learner." I finish my beer and stand up. "Enjoy your whiskey, Jake. Enjoy your hotel room. Enjoy explaining to your kids why Daddy doesn't live with them anymore." "Tom, wait." I turn back. "What do you want? What will it take for you to stop?" "It's a fair question. What do I want? An apology? Money? Their suffering?" "I want you to understand what you took from me," I tell him. "Not just my wife, not just my friend, not just my sense of reality. You took my trust in people. You took my ability to believe that anyone in my life is exactly who they claim to be. You took my peace of mind, my confidence, my faith in the future. I can't give those things back. No, you can't. But you can live without them for a while, just like I have to." I leave him sitting there and drive home to my empty house. Marta's car is in the driveway. She's sitting at the kitchen table with a box of tissues and a bottle of wine that's half empty. Her eyes are red and swollen. "They fired me," she says without looking up. "I heard. You did this. You sent them those photos. You did this," I correct. "I just made sure the right people knew about it." She looks up at me with something I've never seen before in her eyes. Genuine hatred. "You're destroying my life. Your life was already destroyed. You just didn't know it yet. What about Tommy? What about the kids? How are we supposed to support them if neither of us is working?" "We." I sit down across from her. "There is no we, Marta. You made sure of that. You can't just abandon your responsibilities. My responsibilities are to Ross, Amelia, and Tommy, not to you. Tommy is Jake's son. Tommy is the 8-year-old boy who calls me dad and thinks I hung the moon. Biology doesn't change that." She starts crying again, but I don't feel sorry for her anymore. I used to hate seeing her cry. I used to do anything to make her happy, to fix whatever was wrong, to be the solution to her problems. Now I just feel empty. Marta, I want you to listen to me very carefully, I say. You have two choices. You can disappear quietly, start over somewhere else, and I'll make sure you get reasonable visitation with the kids. Or you can keep fighting me, and I'll make sure everyone in this town knows every detail of what you did. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you a way out with some dignity intact. She wipes her eyes and looks at me with something like calculation. What if I don't want either of those choices? Then you'll find out just how creative I can be. Marta chooses to fight. Over the next week, she launches a campaign to paint herself as the victim. She tells anyone who'll listen that I'm controlling, that I drove her to seek affection elsewhere, that I'm using the children as weapons in a vindictive divorce. She gets Victoria to post on social media about emotional abuse and financial manipulation. She has her remaining friends share stories about how unhappy she's been for years, how I never appreciated her, how I forced her to give up her dreams. The narrative is simple. I'm the boring, controlling husband who pushed his wife into another man's arms, and now I'm punishing her for seeking happiness. It might even work if I hadn't spent the last 2 weeks gathering evidence. See, the thing about being an accountant is that you learn to follow paper trails. You learn to spot patterns, inconsistencies, and lies hidden in numbers. And when you've been married to someone for 24 years, you know where all the financial bodies are buried. I start with the credit card statements. Marta has been using our joint credit card to pay for hotel rooms, dinners, gifts, and weekend trips with Jake. The Riverside Motel charges appear monthly, always on the same day as her book club meetings. There are charges for expensive lingerie from stores I've never heard of, restaurant bills for 2 people at places we've never been together. She's been funding her affair with our money. But that's just the beginning. I dig deeper into our finances and discover something interesting. Marta has been systematically moving money from our joint savings account into a personal account I didn't know existed. Small amounts, never enough to trigger my attention, but consistent enough to add up to nearly $15,000 over the past year. She's been planning her exit strategy for months. I also find emails between Marta and Victoria discussing what Tom doesn't know won't hurt him, and how to protect assets in a divorce. Victoria, it turns out, has been coaching her sister on how to hide money and manipulate the legal system. This isn't a woman who made a mistake. This is a woman who's been systematically betraying her family while planning to take everything she can when it all falls apart. The final piece of evidence comes from an unexpected source. Tommy, my 8-year-old son, Jake's biological son, comes home from school on Thursday with a story that makes my chest tight with rage. "Dad," he says, "Uncle Jake picked me up from school today." "What do you mean he picked you up?" "He was waiting by the playground. He said Mom asked him to get me because she had to work late." I call the school immediately. According to the secretary, Jake presented a note supposedly from Marta, giving him permission to pick up Tommy. The note was on letterhead from her old job, the job she was fired from a week ago. Jake tried to take my son. I don't know what his plan was. Maybe he wanted to spend time with his biological child. Maybe Marta put him up to it. Maybe they thought they could force some kind of custody arrangement by presenting a fait accompli. It doesn't matter. He crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. I call my lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Williams, who handles family law. I've been consulting with her since the day after I discovered the affair, but now I'm ready to go nuclear. I want full custody of all 3 children, I tell her. I want the house, the cars, and every penny in our joint accounts. And I want a restraining order against Jake Morrison. On what grounds? I tell her about the school pickup, about the hidden bank account, about the systematic financial deception. I email her copies of everything I've found. "This is good," she says, after reviewing the evidence. "Very good. Your wife has been committing financial fraud, and her boyfriend attempted what could be construed as kidnapping. Can we win? Tom, with this evidence, she'll be lucky if she gets supervised visitation." That evening, I sit the kids down and tell them what's going to happen. "I'm filing for divorce," I say. "I'm asking for full custody, which means you'll live here with me full time." Ross nods. "Good. I don't want to live with her anyway." Amelia is more conflicted. "Dad, she's still our mom." "She'll always be your mom," I tell her. "But she made choices that put all of us at risk. I have to protect this family now." "What about Tommy?" Ross asks. He doesn't understand what's happening. Tommy is upstairs, playing video games, blissfully unaware that his world is about to change forever. Tommy will stay with us, I say firmly. He's my son in every way that matters. But legally, I'm his father. I'm on his birth certificate. I've supported him his entire life. Jake has no legal claim to him. It's true. In Ohio, the husband is presumed to be the father of any child born during the marriage, regardless of biology. Jake would have to file a paternity suit and prove he's the biological father, which would require admitting to adultery and potentially exposing him to financial responsibility for 8 years of child support. He won't do it. He can't afford to. The papers are served on Friday morning. I'm not there to see Marta's reaction, but Victoria calls me screaming within an hour. You bastard! You're trying to take her children away. I'm protecting my children from a mother who's been lying to them and stealing from them for over a year. This is about revenge, and you know it. This is about consequences, something your family seems to have trouble understanding. She'll fight you. We'll fight you. With what money? She's unemployed, remember? And her secret bank account is frozen pending the divorce proceedings. There's silence on the other end of the line. You froze her account? My lawyer froze the account that was funded with marital assets. The account she opened without my knowledge, using money she stole from our joint savings. More silence. Victoria, let me explain something to you, I continue. I've been planning this for 2 weeks. I have evidence of financial fraud, adultery, and attempted custodial interference. I have documentation of every lie, every deception, every betrayal. Your sister picked a fight with someone who handles money for a living and thought she could outsmart me. Tom, please, she's my sister. She was my wife. That didn't stop her. I hang up and immediately call the school to update Tommy's pickup authorization list. Jake's name is removed, and I add a note that only I or my children are allowed to collect him. Then I change the locks on the house, and then I cancel Marta's credit cards. Then I transfer the car she's been driving back into my name only and report it stolen. By